in South Africa could go back to England. After the Groot Trek, when the Afrikaner people were formed, they were no longer Germans and Dutch and French.
I asked him, particularly, what job do you do and what job would they have taken away from you? He was a jobless, skillless human being.
Port of Massawa to the Ottoman Turks, a loss that was never seriously disputed or actively reclaimed by subsequent emperors. For centuries, the coastline was controlled and colonized by external powers.
So a journalist from Ghana who is based in the United States is firing African youth, saying that African youth are the problems of Africa. Why is he saying this? Unless we go into the video and listen to what he has to say. And whilst black South Africans are chasing out black Africans, some white Afrikaners or white South Africans are against that move and are calling out the black South Africans who are doing this. I don't want to talk much. Don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe. You don't lose anything by liking, so just give the video a thumbs up. Let's go into the video.
Tinubu has been a youth before. Don't you think Tinubu does not know what happened in the past? Tinubu at a point was criticizing government. Why is he doing what he's doing today? Because he knows you are not strong enough to contest him. Because he knows you just need something small as a Nigerian youth to be able to be distracted. Because Tinubu knows that you are so weak-minded, you cannot think independently. So the same applies to other African nations and other African presidents. They have weighed you, these people. They have been in your position before. Africa, no, we, the young people in Africa, we need to take out our foolishness. An African leader, the most easiest thing for any African leader to do is to convince the African youth. We are so easily convinced. We fall for any shitty thing. We are so dumb. We are so stupid. The most difficult thing for us as African young men and women is to think. We can't think. Small things, we fall for small things. We are excited about unnecessary things. Sometimes we even look at or listen to English grammar and we just get convinced with grammar. Sometimes small things like 200 Ghana, $100, 20 euros, 500 naira, small things. We, the young people, we are failing Africa. A Chinese comes to Africa and he calls a young African and says, take $1,000 and destroy this whole land for me. Let's form a partnership. Go and register the land in your name and let me destroy your land. And an African young man will say, yes, this is what we need to be talking about. Until we take the responsibility, we, the Africans, the young African is always blaming the politician. Who gives the politician that power? 99% of politicians in Africa are scared of the young man, but because we are vulnerable, because we don't want to think, because we don't want to take a stand, we have allowed some petty, silly things to just take over our conscience. Nobody's going to come from anywhere, because John Mahama has been a youth like you before. They have been youths before. They have been in your position before. They have been unemployed before. They told themselves they'll fight the system. Gradually, when they got out of the system, they realized that the people who are in their position, the position they were in, they used to think the same way they also were thinking. So let us not make it look like the problem is a complex problem. Africa's problem is the youth taking responsibility. Is the youth taking responsibility of us. We don't want to take responsibility. Every young man or young woman you see on TV, on radio, discussing the development of Africa is blaming a politician. But they'll turn around and go give that politician the vote to come and destroy them. That is what we are talking about. Every single young man, every single young woman you see on TV, in Africa, everywhere, the first thing they do, they easily blame the politician in Africa, because it is easy to blame an African politician. It is so easy. But the question here is, who made Tinubu? Who made Museveni? Who made those dictators? It is us. The number of votes they are getting, 80% comes from the youth. So ask yourself, are African youth not allowed to think? Can't we make decisions? Can't we sit back and say no? And we turn around and say, we are fighting. You are doing nothing when in the first place, you are given the opportunity to make a decision that will change your life, your destiny. Go to the ballot and vote for the right person. Come to Ghana and see. We experienced this from 2016 to 2024. Nana Akufo-Addo. So many young people in Ghana knew that Akufo-Addo was dumb. We knew it. Even from 2017 to 2020, 90% of the youth in Ghana, they knew Akufo-Addo was dumb. Bawumia could not run the economy. But some people, for some reason, young Africans went to the ballot and say, this same old man who has basically shot people, killed people, still went there to say, let's keep him in power.
Foreigners are not the problem. We are. Let me say that again. Foreigners are not destroying South Africa.
I hate foreigner. I hate Krikamba. I hate Kwara. I hate Zaizai. I don't like foreigner. Foreigner must go to their country.
Our failed leaders, our broken economic model, and our silence we are chasing Zimbabweans out, while 80% of the land is still owned by white billionaires and apartheid families. We are burning foreign businesses while Anglo-American and ShopRite send out billions each year. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to get hate for it, but I'm going to say it because it's true. Immigrants aren't stealing the jobs, they're taking the ones we won't do. In the shadows of a system built on exploitation. South Africa doesn't have an immigration crisis. It has a justice crisis. Let me be clear, I'm not saying open up the borders wide. I'm saying track movement properly, register people, set up Pan-African trade zones, community assemblies, and stop pretending that a passport defines someone's worth. If you're more angry at the street vendor from Malawi than the billionaire who owns the mall in your township, you're not a patriot, you're a puppet. Africa will not rise until Africans stop fearing each other more than they fear capital.
I hate foreigners. I am I don't like foreigner because foreigners, I don't have a child because of foreigner. Ramaphosa, take these foreigners to their country right now.
We cannot maintain the whole of Africa. When you check the whole of Africa, if you go to school, you must pay for yourself. If you go for a clinic or a hospital, you pay for yourself. Why only South Africa? Out of 53 countries, it has to be a free for all. And we are the ones who are paying tax. Sarah Ramaphosa and that criminal minister of police, they are stealing our taxpayers' money. All of them in the parliament. All of them, they are stealing our taxpayers' money. We must fork out our money and maintain the whole of Africa. We cannot maintain the whole of Africa. If they think we are causing xenophobia, they must go back to their countries. We don't want them anymore.
Problems arise where people think others are coming to take their jobs. I saw a clip of some old and rugged white middle-aged men in the UK claiming that Africans were taking up their jobs. And the reporter asked him, particularly, what job do you do and what job would they have taken away from you? He was a jobless, skillless human being, but who was out in the streets protesting that some job of his has been taken. He has no skill to offer, nothing. And these people that is criticizing and besmirching are people who have come to bring skills which are needed in that economy. So migration is always informed by some of these exigencies, and we encourage. We need a lot of skills across. We have developed skills in mining in Botswana, extraction. We believe that those skills are exportable. And so our people will migrate, will come to Zimbabwe because there are mining houses and opportunities here, and they should be free to do that.
I need to know, are there certain black people that just don't like us because we're white?
We live in a country that enslaved black people and never paid for it. And y'all be asking questions like this. Meanwhile, the same government who okayed this shit determine the curriculum in school, and they decide they gonna show slave movies to black people while they sit next to people who look just like you. Like Muhammad Ali said though, every lion ain't gonna try to attack you, but who gonna be dumb enough to wait for the one that's not? You got Karens on every corner, you got the cops trying to shoot kids any chance they get. You got the KKK that the government does nothing about. You have the government who not putting in no bills to protect black people from all this racist bullshit. So when you ask this question, it's just laughable. I believe most of the country is not racist, but I know for a fact that most of the country don't mind accepting the benefits of racism, so it don't really matter to people like us. This country is so money hungry, it enslaved black people for over 400 years and never paid for it. And every time they talk about reparations, they so greedy, they think we more concerned about getting money. But in reality, when you admit that you wrong, that is how you correct your behavior. But because they don't want to admit they wrong, they let us know they want to keep their racism going. This is what the country is built off of. When you hear people say make America great again and white people have always been in control of it, what they mean is get their slaves back. That was the only time they can say whatever they want and do whatever they wanted to us and nobody would dare question it. But now all these woke people are starting to get on their nerves. To say make America great again is delusional anyways. In a country that was built with no integrity, off of the backs of slaves, all of the evil that was done, and they documented it. So it's not just me saying this. We had to go to school to study, so I know what I'm talking about. The same country that has not taken a break from their evil to the life that was created by God will lie to themselves and say, God bless America. The fucking bullshit we got to deal with.
Mozambicans are planning to blockade freight to South Africa in a bid to counteract the tension that has arisen in South Africa. Now, South Africans, black South Africans have taken to the streets carrying sticks and singing battle songs, and they're looking for immigrant workers who they say have taken away their jobs and have taken away their perceived wealth. And these are Africans who generally tend to be poor, working in all sorts of jobs, either running kiosks or working in the streets. And black South Africans have been very vocal that they don't want other Africans to work in South Africa. I guess they don't have any problems with all the white people that live and work in South Africa. It's black Africans that they are attacking. Now, Mozambicans have said that they will be blocking freight going to South Africa. And others are calling for South Africans all over Africa to basically either be asked to go home if this is what's going to happen, because the frustration is being basically targeted at other black Africans. It's currently expected to be widespread shutdown in South Africa as the Operation Dundula and other type of operations which are anti-immigrant due to take place. And this is just a manifestation. This misdirected anger to other black Africans is quite puzzling and very sad to see that they are incapable of seeing the root cause of their problems, and they are attacking and harming and killing other black Africans.
All right, so for educational purposes, we just found this on the ground right now. This is gold?
No, it's not gold, but it's got gold in it.
Gold inside of it?
Copper, it's got iron, it's got silver. So the processing plant that we set up will be specifically trying to extract the gold, the copper, the silver. So when the original people mined the gold, they only extracted certain amounts of the gold from the original mine. They only extracted a certain amount of copper, a certain amount of silver. Whatever was left behind is what we need to get out of this tailings mound, right? And what we're saying is they left almost 70% of the gold.
And these are tailings?
These are tailings.
Tailings is the leftover of gold.
It's the leftover from mining. Yeah.
But it's still valuable.
It's very valuable.
And this is like we're just walking on this right now.
We're just walking on it. Yeah. So every time it rains, it's literally eroding real money. It's probably losing $1 million every couple of months.
Every time of water
with the rain. Yeah, because if the tailings, and if it washes away tailings, it's washing away gold. Right.
How many acres are we sitting on right now?
So, about 27.
We can't even walk, so you can see.
And then, so all the locals came. They're a part of this?
All of these are people who are stakeholders, and some artisanal miners, some are people who live around, some are local leaders, right? So all of these people you're seeing here,
they're interested to see this thing done.
They want this thing done, right? And they heard you guys are coming, and they've come to show that they're supportive of the project and stuff, right? Yeah. Wow. So everybody here is a stakeholder who we're engaging on a regular basis, right? So our job is to start the work, but also getting the plant on site and then get real gold bars.
How can colonization be wrong? How can Berlin Conference be wrong? How can the business model be wrong? How can the education be wrong? How can the health be wrong? How can their militarization be wrong, but their religion is right? Religion. We are willing to decolonize everything else. Oh, but leave Jesus alone. Jesus alone. I said, if you find that young boy Jesus, send him to me. Give him my personal address. Give him the address to my house. My house. Oh, no. Not in a bad way. Not in a bad way. I want to see him. Ask me what I want to ask him. I can see your plan that you have for the white people. I can see it. Can you just give me my plan for the black people? I just want to know, what's your plan? What's your game plan with us, the Africans? Because you've allowed other children to come and steal and rob and kill us, and it's okay with you. It's okay with you when they abuse us. It's all right. Let's make it slide. So what's your plan? And if he does not have a plan, I have nothing to do with him. I will find a God who is concerned about who I am. This one they packaged for us for colonization. Please go and read How to Tame and Enslave a Black Mind. There are lots of books out there. Liberate yourself. When Bob Marley was singing, emancipate yourself from mental slavery. That's what he meant. Decolonize your mind.
The biggest source of African pride that I now know is a lie. The idea that Ethiopia is the only African country that has never been colonized. You see, the history of Ethiopia's coast tells a profound story of lost opportunity and sustained abandonment over a span of more than a millennium, more than 1,000 years. In 1557, Ethiopia relinquished its control of the Red Sea port of Massawa to the Ottoman Turks, a loss that was never seriously disputed or actively reclaimed by subsequent emperors. For centuries, the coastline was controlled and colonized by external powers, by the Ottomans, then by the Egyptians, then by random warlords who simply purchased a stake in this coastline, fiefdoms that had popped up, and finally the Italians, each occupying territories that Ethiopia's rulers appeared to accept as beyond their reach, even though they relied on these territories for trade and access to the outside world. The narrative that Ethiopia was never colonized neglects the truth. The coast was effectively lost and remained under different foreign dominions. Despite this highland plateau-centered identity of the nation. I mean, tell me, beloved, right now, the AES is one of the biggest blocks to its sovereignty is having access to the coast, to be able to trade without having to go through somebody else's borders. So if Ethiopia had its coastline taken from it from since 1557, and just nobody went in any further because whatever, is it not effectively colonized? I mean, even within Ethiopia's court, figures such as Ras Wole Selassie in the early 19th century regarded the situation as preferable to intervention, viewing that the coast as a distant issue rather than a core concern, unless powers like Britain moved in to take direct control of Massawa themselves, but they ultimately did. The pattern of forfeiture, of not claiming the territory, not integrating the people, not finding a way to form covenant and maintain covenant that was already in line. That pattern of forfeiture was not an inevitable result of external conquest, but a series of deliberate choices made by successive generations of Ethiopian leadership. While Massawa remained Ethiopia's only port for trade by 1808, the internal political will to reclaim the coast wasn't there, and the emperor's focus shifted inward, and they also started appealing, for some reason I could go into later talking about the traitor Subagadis, appealing to European alliances for their salvation. The Naib of Ariko, or rather, the Naib of Arkiko, significant settler colonial power on Ethiopian soil. That's one of those, settler colonialists. I mean, he's almost like Leopold. It was his colony. I mean, he wasn't backed by any state, so it's not exactly like Leopold, but I mean, it was his personal colony, right? On Ethiopian soil, controlling vital water, vital supplies, and trade routes, further consolidating the coast's separation from Ethiopian sovereignty. The empire's neglect and strategic disinterest in maintaining control over this vital corridor illustrates a consistent pattern of covenantal abandonment, a turning away from the coast, and by extension, from a vital part of national destiny. I mean, right now, Ethiopia is in a tizzy. You can watch Abiy Ahmed talking about how it's an existential crisis, that Ethiopia is a landlocked nation and how they can't exist without access to a coast and how they're ready to go war because they don't have no coast, when most people don't realize, most Ethiopians don't realize that the reason Ethiopia doesn't have a coast is because Ethiopia decided to not have a coast. I mean, the context is critical because the failure of Menelik II during and after the Battle of Adwa to pursue Italian forces all the way to Massawa, all the way to the Red Sea, was not an isolated oversight, but it was the culmination of a long-standing pattern of inaction rooted in centuries of prioritizing internal consolidation over territorial reclamation. They believed the lie that white folks said that what you really need is to have a central authority. You need to have a central government, a strong authoritarian government masquerading as a democracy. And so they believed, and so they consolidated the defenders, consolidated power. They stripped away the old feudal federation and consolidated power so that they could have a single authority by which they could be corrupted by whiteness. Had Ethiopia's leadership seized the opportunity to restore its sovereignty over the coast, the narrative of loss might have been rewritten. Instead, choice and preference shaped the course of history, demonstrating that the erosion of Ethiopian sovereignty along the Red Sea was driven not solely by external force, but by deliberate decisions to overlook the significance of the coast. Recognizing this pattern is crucial for understanding the deeper roots of Ethiopia's historical challenges, the present challenges, and the missed opportunities for national reunification and renewed sovereignty over its full territory. If you read Sir E.A. Wallace Budge, his history of Ethiopia, Nubia, and Abyssinia, you will see Ethiopia was a hell of a lot larger than it is now. So it was Ethiopia colonized? I mean, shit. A whole bunch of territory was stripped away. What is that? And I think saying that Ethiopia was never colonized serves a bunch of purposes that don't serve nobody but white power. Because the pride that is engendered amongst the Ethiopians for thinking that they were never colonized, I believe, contributes to their inability to do anything about their situations. Now, they think they're different. And that was a trick of whiteness, because whiteness couldn't explain the magnificence of Ethiopia. They couldn't explain how Ethiopia was able to defeat white power so many times. Y'all hear about the Battle of Adwa in 1896, but you don't hear that the Ethiopians had defeated the Italians before in Dogali, before in Saganeti. I think that's Saganeti. Somebody could correct me. Probably not, because y'all don't know your history. And then 1896, Adwa was the third defeat. And then if you count 1935, that was the fourth defeat. You can't have no African nation defeating an European power 3-4 times. And you got to give them a blight so that the Ethiopians won't hold it in your face that they beat you up so many times. So you give them a blight, you tell them they're Semiticized and they're close to white and they're so on and so forth. And now the Ethiopians, you hear the patriarch of the church talking about how we know Jesus come from white people, colonized. We got to realize how deeply entrenched we are in this global settler colonial project. And we got to repent for our entrapment and start reach for Kidan, start reach for the covenant of the Lord.
You see, it's very sad. Honestly, what this journalist is saying is 100% true, because we've allowed ourselves to be blinded by partisan politics. And if you don't vote for this person, I think it has more to do with our tribes, because if a party is formed, let's say in a particular province or region or whatever, or state, and it falls under a particular tribe, the people there feel like, yes, this is our party, so whatever, even if they are doing bad things, they are still going to vote for like that particular person. That is our problem in Africa. That is our problem in Africa, and it has kept on hurting us, hunting us. Listen, the white people are doing their part, yes, but I think we can also do something good for ourselves if you want things to get better for us in Africa. We have to. It is long overdue, and we have to do it. We have to have a change of mind. It's not all about partisan politics. And I really love this white South African coming out and saying the truth and speaking the truth. I wish the black South Africans will listen, and they will know that black Africans are not their problem, but their problem is bigger, way bigger, and they are not confronting that, and they should do so. Thank you so much for watching.